A millionaire found a little beggar, fainted in his park, and took her to his mansion. Ethan Montgomery's morning jog was his only escape, a ritual to outrun the silence of his mansion, haunted by the echo of his wife's laughter before the accident stole her sight. But today, just past the wrought iron gate of Willowcrest Park, he froze. There, beneath the marble fountain surrounded by roses wilting in the cold, lay a frail little girl, barefoot, her dress torn, her face ghostly pale. She wasn't moving. People passed without a glance, as if poverty had made her invisible. Ethan's breath caught. Something inside him, long dead, stirred. In that moment, the billionaire, who had everything money could buy, knelt beside a child who had nothing, and felt the weight of everything he couldn't fix. But what he didn't know was, this child was about to change everything. The sky above Willowcrest Park was a muted gray, draped in clouds as though it mourned something unseen. Ethan Montgomery's steps echoed against the cobbled path of the park, his breath visible in the morning chill. He came here every day at 6 a.m., not for fitness or peace, but because this was the only place he could be alone with his thoughts. Thoughts he didn't dare take home. Ethan was a man who had it all, at least that's what people thought. A sprawling estate in Newport Hills, a billion-dollar tech empire, a reputation as one of the sharpest minds in the industry. But no one saw the silence in his mansion, the void in his heart after Claire lost her sight. Once a brilliant painter, Claire had retreated into herself after the accident that took her vision, and slowly, their connection. But that day, everything changed. Near the marble fountain in the center of the park, he saw a motionless figure, a child, a little girl, maybe 8 or 9 years old, curled up against the cold stone, her face pale, her dress torn and dirty. People walked by without pausing, without caring. Ethan's heart lurched. He rushed forward, kneeling beside her. Her lips were blue, her fingers ice. Without thinking, he lifted her into his arms. She weighed nothing, just bones wrapped in exhaustion. "Call Dr. Hawthorne," he barked into his phone as he raced to his car. "Tell him to meet me at the mansion. It's urgent." The driver opened the door without a word. The child didn't stir once on the ride back. Ethan couldn't remember the last time he prayed, but in that moment, he did. Girl's name was Lily. Dr. Hawthorne's voice was grave. Severely malnourished, dehydrated, bruises on her ribs, likely from abuse. "She's lucky you found her when you did, Ethan." Ethan stood at the doorway of the guest room, watching her sleep. Claire entered quietly, guided by her cane. Her presence was rare in this wing of the mansion. "She's just a child," Claire whispered. "She was all alone," Ethan replied. "On the ground like trash." Claire moved toward the bed, her hand reaching, searching for the edge. She sat, gently brushing Lily's hair away from her forehead. "She deserves better." That night, the silence in the mansion was not empty. It was full of worry, of questions, and something else. Something Ethan hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Lily didn't speak for days. She ate in silence, slept often, flinched when anyone touched her too suddenly. The staff treated her with kindness, but she didn't smile. Her eyes darted around the mansion like she was waiting to be thrown out. Claire made the first breakthrough. Sitting with Lily one afternoon, she asked, "Do you like music?" A shrug. Claire smiled. "I can't see anymore, but I remember music. It always made the colors dance in my head." A long pause, then Lily whispered, "I used to sing with my brother." That was the first time she mentioned him. Over the next few weeks, Lily spoke more. She told Claire about nights spent hiding under bridges, about shelters full of people with dangerous smiles, about hunger so sharp it made her dizzy. But most of all, she spoke of her brother, Sam. "He's 7, she whispered one night as Ethan stood silently outside the room. "He likes puzzles, and he's scared of the dark." "Where is he now?" Claire asked softly. Lily's voice cracked. "A man took him. Rick. That was the man's name. Lily said he used to hang around the soup kitchens. He offered candy and warm blankets, and then, when no one was watching, he stole children." Ethan's blood turned cold. "We're going to find Sam," he told Lily. "I promise." He meant it. With Claire's urging and the help of his vast network, Ethan launched a search operation. Private investigators combed through footage, tapped into underground forums, and followed whispers on the street. After 2 weeks, a lead surfaced, an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of Port Ember. Surveillance footage, a child matching Sam's description. Ethan went himself. When they found Sam, the boy was trembling, dirty, holding a sock monkey like a lifeline. Ethan knelt beside him, using the same voice he'd used with Lily. "Hey, buddy, I'm Ethan. Your sister's waiting for you." When Sam saw Lily again at the mansion, he didn't say a word. He just ran into her arms, and the siblings wept as if their hearts had been broken and rebuilt in that very moment. Life didn't magically become perfect. Sam woke up screaming some nights. Lily still checked every window before bed. They clung to each other, afraid that any happiness would be snatched away. But Ethan and Claire were patient. They introduced therapy, gentle, play-based. They started routines. They celebrated small things, a full night's sleep, a day without tears, a joke told over breakfast. Claire, inspired by Lily's vivid descriptions, began painting again. With Lily's help, she created tactile art using textures, sand, feathers, even crushed leaves. She called her first exhibition "What I Feel When I See." Critics were stunned, but Claire only cared about the way Lily clapped when she touched each canvas. Ethan transformed too. He stepped back from his company, took time off, learned how to braid Lily's hair and teach Sam chess. The mansion that once echoed with silence now burst with life. On one of their weekend hikes, Lily took Ethan's hand and said, "You saved us." Ethan looked down, his voice thick. "No, Lily, you saved me." Adoption wasn't simple. There were legal battles, background checks, interviews. But Ethan and Claire stood firm. And when the papers were finally signed, they celebrated with a small family dinner. Just the four of them, and Baxter the dog. Claire gave Lily a necklace with a tiny paintbrush charm. Ethan gave Sam a wooden puzzle box with a note inside that read, "You belong here always." And for the first time in a long time, they all slept through the night. Lily turned 11, surrounded by balloons, cupcakes, and laughter. The staff decorated the backyard with twinkling lights. Music played. Sam performed a magic trick. Claire stood by the piano, her hand on Lily's shoulder. "Make a wish," Ethan said, holding the cake. Lily closed her eyes. "I already got it," she said. Claire's voice trembled. "What was it?" "A family." Years later, Ethan often returned to Willowcrest Park, sometimes alone, sometimes with Sam and Lily. He'd look at the fountain, the place where the sky changed. All he'd done was kneel. But that one moment of seeing a child others ignored had rewritten the story of 4 lives. And now, in a home filled with laughter, art, puzzles, and pancakes, Ethan knew one thing for certain. Money could build a mansion, but love built a family.